Hello and welcome to this Star Trek Discovery Episode 1 and 2 recap and reaction. So I got with me a couple of people, a couple of friends from...
No, we're more like allies is what I said.
Yeah.
Alright.
That's what I like saying, friends and allies. Hello, I'm Kallum, if you don't know me. I'm here with Jacob.
Yeah, I'm Jacob.
We're from Nerds of the Verse.
Yeah.
We're also putting this up on our channel, so you might have been sent here from here or what. We'll be fine. You'll figure it out. We also do podcasts and maybe some more stuff soon, possibly. I've been saying that for a year now. Yeah, but we're nerds, so we thought we'd talk about a new Star Trek show, because that sounded like fun, didn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm a big Trekkie anyway. I'm the biggest Trekkie in this room.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, you've probably watched the most of it, but I know quite a lot.
But I've watched it all. I know where this fits in the timeline. I know what things are meant to be happening at this point.
Played a lot of Star Trek Online.
Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to do obviously we're going to recap and do reactions.
Yeah.
But first though, we're going to talk about our overall impressions before we get into the nitty and gritty of the actual recap itself.
This goes without saying, but spoiler warning.
Yeah, well, if you clicked on a recap and reaction to a Star Trek Discovery, you should know what you get into.
Yeah.
But here's like the non-spoiler bit, because like we're going to talk about our general thoughts. Why don't you two go first? Because I think they'll be slightly better than my opinion.
Okay. One of my very first thoughts was I don't like the intro, the cinematic intro thing. Why isn't it in space? Why is it a weird animation thing? And why is the music bad?
Yeah. That like, immediately, this intro is on the worst. It's worse than Enterprise.
Yeah, did he not learn from Enterprise?
Yeah, but like, what was your general view of the show?
Well, I enjoyed the episodes overall. I thought there were some clunky parts with like the Klingons and some of the flashbacks. I
thought
a
the
little bit.
pacing was actually alright.
Oh, I can't disagree more. I can understand why on paper the pacing, like, at first glance will make sense, but we're knowing how little episodes we're going to get.
Yeah.
Nothing.
But how many episodes are we getting?
It's 7 episodes up to November, and then they're doing the second 7 or 8. I'm not sure if it's 7 or 8. Coming up in January, so they're taking like a 2 month.
I would argue
break.
that's 2 seasons, but yeah.
Okay, that's...
It's...
For that, in that case... Well, for the episode...
It's very Brian Fuller. It's very Brian Fuller. Like, when you watch this show, you're like, I can see this as Brian Fuller's attempt at doing a Star Trek show.
If you take them as self-contained things, the pacing within the episodes is very good.
The second episode's pacing is a hell of a lot better than the first.
Yeah.
The first is clunky. Like, because my overall opinion is I hate it. I really couldn't stand it. I don't know what they're going for. It didn't work for me. As someone who really likes the good bits of Next Gen and the good bits of Deep Space Nine,
Deep Space Nine is so good.
this wasn't the show I wanted, like, at all. This is the kind of story I expect them to tell in Star Trek Online.
Yeah. Well,
It's like...
I can sit and watch Voyager. I know everyone hates Voyager, but I can actually watch Voyager, and I can watch Enterprise. So I
can watch Voyager and Enterprise. I can watch them. It takes me a bit of effort to do, but they have good elements and bad elements. This show, I summed it up quite well on Facebook or Twitter. I can't remember which. It's all the bad elements from Voyager and Enterprise shoved into a show. And the Abrams-verse. There's so much Abrams-verse stuff there that doesn't belong there.
I mean, admittedly, they probably should have been better off putting it as, like, in continuity, the very latest thing, rather than putting it in, like, 10 years before the original show, because then you could have stuck as well. And if you add new things, like a new alien species, well, that can't pop up again, can it?
It's prime timeline, but... all of the stuff looks way more advanced than the original series.
At least Enterprise, they made an effort to try and tech it down.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't do a very good job, because it's still the little things like, no, that should be a thing in original series, but it's not.
Like when she jumps out in that rocket suit, like...
I had to say in original series.
What?
There are suits similar to it.
Yeah,
not as advanced.
But the way it looks. And
that was the one thing I was kind of like, I can forgive this,
yeah,
but the rest I can't.
But at the same time, no, what I'm saying is, everything looks way more advanced.
Oh, yeah.
They keep saying the Shinzo, was it? The ship?
Yeah, that's the name of the ship.
is an old ship, and I'm like,
How is that an old ship?
that looks more advanced than the Enterprise.
Yeah,
That would be weird if the Enterprise does actually pop up at some point.
it won't.
during
It
the
won't.
show.
It won't.
No, well,
This
it
is
won't.
10 years
won't.
before the Enterprise mission.
No, it's actually... No,
Star
it's-
Trek Discovery, don't.
This is 10 years before the Enterprise's 10-year mission.
Yeah, but it's meant to be around for 40 years, the Enterprise.
Yeah, but this is 10 years before the Enterprise first sets out.
Well, I thought it might have been around. Or
No.
something.
No. This is 10 years before.
If anything, we might see. No, because we've
This
seen.
is in between.
We don't know how long the gap is between episode 3 and 2 and 3 is.
Yeah,
Because I think we're going to get a time jump.
yeah, this is in between Enterprise and the original series.
Yeah.
But both ships were the Enterprise.
Yeah,
But it was,
that ship's not like the first. The first.
Yeah, the
like,
first Enterprise.
First Enterprise isn't in action.
The first Enterprise isn't in action anymore, and the Enterprise in the original series.
What if
isn't-
that's the cameo we get? What if we get Captain Archer?
Oh God.
Sorry, we're getting a bit off track.
Yeah.
I think, like, performance-wise, it was so touch and go.
I really. Oh, I forgot his name.
Doug Jones.
No, the ensign, the alien guy.
Sharu?
Saru?
Yeah,
Sharu.
I really liked him.
not Doug Jones. Doug Jones.
Yeah, it's played by
It's
Doug
Doug
Jones,
Yeah, and I really liked.
It's a nice role for Doug Jones. It's nice to see Doug Jones getting a major role.
I don't know the ensign that when they're beaming down on that, he does like all the flight jokes and stuff, and like when when she's about to jet off, he does all the jokes and that. I really thought he was going to be a main character. And
Well, most of the main cast.
I mean, there's
yes.
another ensign I liked, not because he's actually says many good lines.
Yeah.
It's just that he was the SPD Blue Ranger. So, the ensign who was on the back, like the back computer, like the one who was doing when
the
Ops got
computer,
taken down.
Can I just say that Starfleet need to stop making their control panels out of explosives,
Yeah.
because every time the ship gets shot at, the control panels just spontaneously combust and kill whoever stood in front
there was
of them.
something nice that they could change where things were, because when Ops got blown up,
Yeah.
Ops moved.
Yeah.
That was nice.
But there was an episode in Deep Space Nine where there was a guy, the captain. I can't remember what episode it was, but there was a captain sat in his chair doing stuff, and because he didn't have a thing, that his chair just exploded in the middle of a battle. It's just like, why is the bridge such a volatile place on a Starfleet
I
ship?
completely agree with you that the alien science officer was great.
Yeah.
He unfortunately is the best character in the show. Like, everyone else just sucked. It was lifeless. It was just pathetic.
I mean, they understand like the main character.
She was raised by Vulcan.
Yeah, so
I will get to that
so
when
that-
we finish discussion,
Yeah.
because I have a million problems with this.
I mean, obviously the
the captain was just boring.
I liked her.
yeah, well,
She
she was
just
good.
didn't work. Like, no one in this show, to me, worked as well as they think they like. I can see on paper why people think they would work in a show.
Yeah.
Just in practice, they didn't. And I think the thing is, we can't judge the show on these episodes because they.
Well, this is a pilot.
It's
Yeah.
not though, because this is just a prequel to what the actual show is. It's got a completely different cast. The only things that's the same, I think,
Is the commander
is the commander
and lieutenant.
and the lieutenant.
Okay.
Like, they're going on a different ship with a different captain with a different mission.
I'm glad it's a different ship because that ship was ugly.
Oh, it's even worse. The actual ship's worse. It looks like the Abrams ship.
The ship that I think the new one they're going to, that has to be a Klingon retrofit or something, right?
I don't know.
Because it does not look like an Enterprise ship. It kind of looks.
It might be in retrofit of like an classic Enterprise ship.
I don't know. It's
Anyway, we're getting very technical here.
Yeah. So
The effects were awful. Some of the worst CGI I've seen in Star Trek. Like, it's worse than the original series in places.
I didn't really see that much to complain
Oh,
about.
it's
when I was
awful.
watching it.
Her in the suit in places was atrocious. It was just not good. The CGI body being flinged away, which is kind of spoilery, but I'm not saying who it is. That was awful.
I didn't think it was that bad.
It was awful. The music is garbage, both the opening and it's just not a good show. Based on these two episodes, it just hasn't worked.
I have problems with the score, in that I feel the score is trying too hard.
I feel it's trying too hard not to be Star Trek.
It's trying too hard to be original and yet be like, look, we're still Star Trek.
And it's like, no, just do Star Trek.
Yeah. It's like, at the end of the intro, they've got that little...
It's like,
the little bit...
that should be at the beginning.
It's the Star Trek thing. It's like... I don't like the intro.
Should we get into the episode recap?
Yep. So,
spoilers.
Yep. Now we're going to go into episode recap. So.
Oh yeah. Just before we do, Klingons are awful in this show.
Oh yeah.
They look awful and they don't sound like Klingon.
Klingon continuity is wrong in this show.
Yeah.
I mean, if they just said there was some sort of offshoot or some sort of mutant Klingon.
No, it's all the Klingons.
No. If that group had been like some sort of offshoot.
Klingons don't have the ridges yet in the timeline. They shouldn't have any of the face ridges.
They should also just be men with like weird eyebrows.
If you watch the original series, the Klingons were just humans with like weird eyebrows and stuff. But then a virus hit them, which made them have the Klingon brows and stuff.
It's explained in Deep Space Nine.
It's explained in Deep Space Nine, and that it's explained. Klingons used to, at that point in history, just looked like weird humans.
But like, imagine the amount of fun you could have had with this. Like, if you're like making the Klingons look like maybe they could have done like a weird, like it sounds like it's a terrible idea. Bear with me. Did you do the same thing, but with oh no, you can't because Enterprise predates it. Never mind.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, can we not have like the original design of Vulcans?
Oh, right.
Because that's the coolest design like Star Trek never had. Yeah.
Right.
On to the episode recap.
Right, so recap starts now. So we open up with like a shot of like a galaxy and a Klingon giving a speech about.
I was so confused by this because it didn't sound like Klingon. It doesn't sound like Klingon to the ear. As a Trekkie, we've talked about this. It doesn't sound right.
It sounds
like
smoother than Klingon.
It just doesn't have the right sounds.
Do they all have those really jagged teeth as well?
Yeah. Klingons have always had really jagged teeth.
Yeah, like apart from Worf.
Yeah, apart from Worf.
Because Worf is,
usually they have like
main character.
They can have like thin, spiky teeth as well, and jagged teeth has always been a Vulcan thing.
In general, the Klingons look completely different to how they've ever looked outside of the Abrams-verse.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, as a opening to a show, I thought it was okay aside from like the odd. Because like the spying into the eye, almost like they're looking to control the galaxy. I thought that was a nice little.
I liked the eye thing.
Yeah,
I hated it. It was so dumb. I think everything the Klingons did in these two episodes was dumb.
It doesn't
nonsensical and doesn't make any sense
to me. But I'll get to that later.
Like, I understand the Klingons have prophecies, but like the big one is the what's it called? What's the Klingon Jesus called?
Yeah.
No, not the one the show talks about, because that one's made up. The one that's in both Next Gen and Deep Space Nine and Voyager. Like, it's brought up multiple times.
Isn't that the one that Worf accidentally almost ends up being with all the time travel shenanigans?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Because there's certain things. But Klingons, they're talking not Klingon. And talking about lighting a beacon and rearranging the houses or some stuff.
It sounds slightly more Romulan than it should, but
apparently they're not allowed to talk about the writers. They said Romulan's like a dirty word, so they're not allowed to do anything Romulan.
They mention it twice in the episode.
No, but apparently the writers aren't allowed to do, because if people say, "Oh, Romulan," or Romulan's involved, they're not allowed to say anything. So obviously it means that they'll probably turn at some point.
Yeah.
But
well, maybe you should try not writing your Klingons like Romulans, and then maybe you can have that. It's not good. The dialogue in the first episode is awful.
Can we get to the recap now, Cal?
Yeah, sorry.
Anyway, so move on to the next scene, where we
desert.
Yeah, we're on the desert planet, where the captain, Philippa Georgia, and the commander, Michael Byrne. Well, it's called Michael, but I assume it was pronounced Michelle, but it actually says
it's Michael.
No,
it's actually Michael because it's actually got a male name. So they're on a desert planet.
That's kind of nice detail. Like the Michael being her name.
Yeah.
Because it's like a Klingon, a Vulcan has seen a human name, chosen it at random and given it to him without any context for also the future. So, maybe names don't have genders anymore. Come on, guys. It's 20 whatever the year is.
Yeah, so they're wandering around this desert planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're on this desert planet, looking to get some sort of water fix a water well for this, like some sort of alien. It was some sort of like insect.
Yeah.
Insect
species.
thing.
But okay,
It screams Abram.
what annoyed me was violating the Prime Directive by walking straight through where
that.
they live.
Yeah.
2, they could have just beamed some sort of explosive charge down the well from the ship, beamed people directly next to the well to sort it, and then beam them out.
I mean, we don't know what their beaming tech's like. The show tries to present it as being... The beaming tech in the show is all over the place.
Yeah.
In the first 2 episodes alone, it's already completely makes no sense.
Most of the scene, it was nicely shot. I liked the desert scene. I liked the ship coming through and
it looked
alien.
awful.
I liked that scene, the reveal of the ship and that.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice little way to introduce the ship.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if you look back, why are they there?
I liked.
Doesn't quite hold up perhaps logically.
I did like the scene of them two talking, like, oh, what would you do if we were stuck here for 89 years? It's like, well, I could introduce myself, maybe integrate myself into the culture. And she was like, what would you do? Well, I'd escape, obviously.
Can't disagree more.
And then when it zoomed out and she'd etched the Starfleet logo into the sand.
Dumbest scene I've ever seen in Star Trek, and I've seen all of Enterprise.
Oh, I've seen dumber scenes.
It was
I've
so
seen
dumb.
Way dumber scenes.
The dialogue on this planet, where she's going, what's something along the lines of, I thought you would have learnt after being with me for 7 years, because we all need to know that she's been there for 7 years. Like, the show brings it up 4 times. The dialogue in the first episode is appalling in places. It's really not, it's just
I'd have liked,
written by a 4-year-old.
I'd have liked the ship reveal more if the ship wasn't ugly.
You know what? It would have been fine if it wasn't the damn badge. It's such an inefficient shape to draw.
It's a harmless shape to the locals if they notice it, but
it's so dumb. It was
it's
such a cheesy moment. There's so many cheesy things in this show. I
Star
thought
Trek
this
is a
show,
cheesy show.
But they were presenting the show. They're presenting it like it's not cheesy, but it is.
It's Star Trek. It has to be. It has to have some cheese, even when they try and be serious.
No, I just can't get behind this.
How would almost like a starship? How would that be affected? Almost like by a sandstorm as well, because I don't know.
Also, how did they see it through the sandstorm?
Carefully. I don't get
how?
It's a nice scene. I like it. I can overlook the science there to see it as a nice scene.
I think we've said enough about this scene, so we're going to move to the next one. So, the next we actually get told the date of the first time, which is the 22nd of May, 2256.
Ah, yeah, 2256.
Which is 10 years before the original series.
10 years before original series embarks.
So they're in.
Is that including the pilot? The original series pilot, which only has Spock in.
That's a couple of years before, I think, but I'm not 100%.
Say from round.
Yeah, but it's 10 years before the main mission sets off.
So they're responding to a damaged relay,
yes,
and they're looking to make repairs, and they wondering, well, what's happened to this relay to get. They're not sure if it's an asteroid or someone's done it on purpose.
The scorch marks around the doesn't speak asteroid to me.
Such a dodgy damn CGI ship. I couldn't stand this scene.
I've been playing enough Star Trek Bridge Crew recently to know you can scan that easily and find out phasers did that.
So, they decide. They actually they find an anomalous object in the debris field.
Yeah.
Another thing that's weird in this show, their scanning capabilities. I mean, there's the anomaly, right? But their capabilities as a ship, the writers couldn't decide how far tech was, and
that's a thing in Star Trek though. That's always been a thing.
But it's worse in this show because they're trying to fit it into a timeline, so they just don't know. Enterprise did better scanning than they do in the entire episode. Next Gen is pretty standard where it is. I mean, the show is very formulaic. Deep Space Nine is pretty standard while the scanning is. Voyager, the science makes no sense in Voyager. And original show, the science was always within the context of the show. Next Gen did it. Original show did it first. So the science problematics weren't being invented then. So everything this show does weird is its own fault.
Yeah.
It needs to decide what it can and cannot do. And that's the problem with it. I don't know if the writers put enough effort into figuring it out, or they just did the generic, we're not sure of the text there, so they'll have a slightly less version of it. And it's just so obvious in the scene.
I thought it was like a nice. It was coming through. It was like, oh, we can't see through our scanners. Unwind the glass.
Yeah.
And let's have a look at the window and see what it looks like.
And then it was sort. I liked the bit where he's like, I've got it. Oh wait, no, wait, yeah, I've got it. No. And he was like, I can't quite get it.
Oh yeah, the crew of the ship are utterly useless.
Nah.
No, everyone on the ship is useless. The science officer, I get that he's a scaredy cat. I get that's his character trait. But at some point, you're kind of like, how have you made it this far in Starfleet?
Well, no, it's because like one of the quotes in the episode is, they're Starfleet. They're explorers, not soldiers.
Yeah, but even like he's just scared of everything.
No, he's scared because there's
his speech for some reason.
His speech about sensing death.
Yeah,
someone thought it was a genius line.
Yeah,
they were wrong.
I didn't like that.
They were wrong.
And we must move on. Before we move on to where they decide to explore, look at this object.
Oh,
so for the whole instead of the whole thruster jetpack Iron Man thing, rather than like a shuttle or a.
Well, they say the shuttle can't.
Yeah, they did that. But that's they do that.
They said later that they've got those one-man little things.
Pods or was it?
Yeah, the ones that they were going to use at the end for that finale thing.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, so you've got those.
You've got those, but haven't got them at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
Inconsistent writing is all over the show in this.
And also
awful.
For the Iron Man thing, why send the second in charge?
Yeah, so
although no, actually,
a little bit more context because we haven't really explained it very well. They can't use the shuttles, so they have to send one person in a rocket suit, basically.
Iron Man suit.
Yeah. And I mean, they are in Star Trek, just not at this point. Like you see them in. Is it Deep Space Nine or Voyager? You see them.
I don't know.
Or is it Next Gen? They are in Star Trek.
Yeah.
Because you can use them in Star Trek Online to go mining.
Yeah, they are in Star Trek, but I can't remember when they were introduced.
Yeah.
They also mentioned about the radiation that's coming off the
Yeah.
star Drew field.
You just give up.
Why would you even bother?
Why would you just we're going to send you at this thing that's just going to kill you in 20 minutes?
Well, no, what you do?
Just call back
you'd call back, get a properly fitted research ship out there.
Yeah. Or, just shoot your way through the asteroid field.
No, you call back and get a properly outfitted science vessel to come have a look.
What is this vessel? They don't explain the vessel very well.
No, they don't.
Well, I think it's just a general Starfleet runabout ship. It's not specialised. It's just a
like a combat ship.
Yeah.
Mate, have you not played Star Trek Online? There are 3 classes, mate.
No.
Technical, tactical, engineering, and science. There's no in betweens.
But yeah, I don't think this is very specialised in any of them.
Yeah.
It's a general runabout ship.
But
size is really inconsistent as well. I can't tell how big it was.
It's a smaller ship.
Because
it's definitely a smaller ship.
It was weird. It looked bigger, but then when they were
Nice.
actually talking about it in the show, seemed like a smaller one.
You see it in Atmo as well. It's small.
I also looking at this ship again. Yeah. CGI is awful on the ship.
So as she's got to make this plan. It's 2,000 kilometers to actually get to the object.
Yeah.
And apparently, as she's going there, obviously communication is disrupted. So when she finally gets to the ship, once she lands on it, that's when it's decides to wake up. But
she gets there. She's like, "Oh, I'm just going to take a quick peek," and ignore the prime directive.
I'm going to take a flyby. We later learn this character is meant to be raised on Vulcan and be logical. Everything we see up until the moment we find out about her, would not know that.
Yeah.
Her character writing is so inconsistent and not least at all bad. She is the most unsufferable character. She's worse than the Voyager crew. She's single-handedly as bad as the entire Voyager crew. I mean, and it's horrid to watch. I
watched her in The Walking Dead. I don't think she was very good there. But then again, it's The Walking Dead,
yeah,
it's not Walking Dead. Isn't exactly a great.
Who is she in The Walking Dead?
Some random character who dies.
Yeah, she's not very good.
But I'll say she does a good job what she's given. It's just a shame that what she's given is pure garbage.
Yeah, she comes off very stiff, but obviously then later on is the whole Vulcan.
Well, no, because she starts off not stiff, but then they stiffen it up. It's what are you doing? Think about your character when you're writing them. If it doesn't make any sense for the audience to start with, that's okay because you can explain it later. You can make her Vulcan-like, but that's my problem with her. We'll get to it later, but her Vulcanness is so half-hearted. It's they forget they did it.
Yeah.
Anyway, she goes on she stands to stand on this ruddy ship, Then it starts unlocking. Then a blooming Klingon appears from nowhere, literally nowhere.
It just
Pops
turns
up behind her.
And I'm just like, what is that suit that it's wearing? Why do the Klingons
Look so awful.
look so regal and big? And it's like, no, Klingons are a very
They're-
simple looking race. They care about battle. They care about form and function over.
I mean, like,
jewels
you
and
can
gold
get,
and stuff.
like, Klingon, like... It's all the
Original.
wrong shapes.
Yeah.
Like, there is Klingon, like, fancy stuff,
And
but
that-
it's all spikes. Not what... It looks so wrong.
That batleth he was holding looked
Awful.
That was not a batleth.
No. Also, how did he die? I very, very... Like, she just kind of...
He went to swing. He flew at her, and his batleth went through him.
Yeah, no. She activated her thrusters, and then it got.
Why did she not go backwards?
Yeah, that was. I don't know why.
I was like, I'll go straight up. Just go
yeah, but
straight
she went
up.
at him.
Yeah. Just go straight up.
He can't come
And
after
avoid
you.
him.
But also the weapon. I think the weapon got lodged in the ground as well.
Yeah.
So dumb.
So she just jumped backwards.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It was
so,
badly shot as well. That scene was awful. You couldn't
So-
tell what was going on.
yeah. So one of
And,
the,
her little readout thing on a screen recognised it as Klingon.
How? I don't know.
Because
Some
they've
sort of
encountered the Klingons before.
yeah, there's some
but
sort of
like-
symbol on
Like
the
multiple
arm.
times in this episode, they go, "We've never seen this from the Klingons."
No, but it was the symbol. The Klingon symbol.
Oh,
has
was it
always
on
been
his
a
Yeah,
suit?
it was like
I
an
couldn't
arm-
tell because
arm-
it was designed like a piece of garbage,
No, the
and
Klingon-
the CGI was awful on it.
It highlights the Klingon symbol on his armour.
Is it this time we cut to like?
Yeah,
Yeah, she gets knocked by something, right?
yeah. She gets.
Oh,
She must have gotten some sort of debris. Or
I
so
don't
the
know.
impact.
You don't know
Yeah.
what happened.
I'm
It's
not
weird.
even sure.
can I just bring something up that really
Sure.
annoyed me?
Yeah, sure.
No, not really. But when we're on the bridge, on the bridge, and they're talking, and she runs down like a list of like ensigns and stuff. She brings up a name, and I'm just like, oh, you're just doing that to call out, aren't you? She says Mr. Wheaton,
Oh God.
and I'm just there like, wait, are you just throwing that in there as a reference to Will Wheaton?
What
who
if he's
played
the
Wesley
only
Crusher?
cast who have? What if he comes back as like his ancestor?
Oh. But like I was just there like, oh no, because it's Wesley Crusher. It's not Will Wheaton. Will Wheaton's the actor.
I know, but it could be Wheaton Crusher. That'd be the
And
worst.
it's just, I was just like, are you just throwing that in there as a reference?
Oh dear.
It's shot. Ah,
And
like
I was
it's
half
so
expecting.
half-hearted with its referencing.
I was half expecting when she said Mr. Wheaton to actually see Will Wheaton turn around from the console and be like, "Hey."
I just expect like it to zoom out and it's like a set, and it zooms out further, and the writer's room is Will Wheaton going.
But then we cut to the Klingons, don't
Yeah,
we?
which is actually based because from the first scene where they're speaking.
Yeah.
It's actually the same
The
scene.
continuity is a bit off. And
Yeah, it's-
we're supposed to believe that all of this Klingon stuff and them saying it all happens in those 3 hours.
Yeah, it's like. Well, and also what you have is they're put into some sort of sarcophagus.
Yeah, and then put
Every
it's-
single scene, let me sum up every scene with the Klingons. Some random bull that they're just spewing out about some prophecy, some people getting angry, convincing everyone to work for them in like 10 seconds, and it just looks awful. Like, it's shot badly, everything looks horrid, it doesn't look like Klingons, it's just not pleasant.
But
horrid.
why are they screaming? Why are the Klingons screaming as the sarcophagus goes up? That's
Yeah,
as far as
Kapla! Like, where's Kapla?
Yeah.
I was waiting for a Kapla line. No, because Kapla doesn't like when you listen to how those Klingons sound in every other season. They're like it's not just like the sound; it's the letters they use. It's
the pauses,
the pauses,
enunciation.
The enunciation is so different that these Klingons are unrecognizable as Klingons.
I mean, these are our pre-original series Klingons, so the dialect might have evolved since then. But
So yeah, sarcophagus ends up going around on the ship,
hull of the ship, yeah.
making it almost basically almost like a funeral ship essentially.
Yeah,
It's not really like a proper battleship. It's just a
even though it's bigger than any of the Federation ships that turn up later.
So after this we find the commander who's unconscious and she's in some sort of medical facility.
And she's having a flashback.
Yeah, to flashback to Vulcan training.
Yeah, I was just there like...
I'm an idiot. I didn't catch on to the fact that was meant to be her the first time around.
I was sat there going...
Yeah, I was a bit confused as well.
When I started, I was like... why is she in a Vulcan? Because I reckon as soon as I saw that thing, I was like, that's a Vulcan school.
I understood it was Vulcan. I just assumed, oh, are we getting
Like,
a side character introduction?
As soon as we saw that the bubbles and the thing there, I was like, that's Vulcan.
Also, another thing which could have been cool, but it wasn't. I thought that what was happening was this was a flash forward, and the kid was being questioned on the events of the episode.
That'd have been cool.
That would have been really cool. Like, also, like, I mean, I know it's completely different, but what's the simulation that everyone's meant to fail at Starfleet?
The Kobayashi Maru.
What if that had been the first episode?
It can't have been because Spock is the one that makes the Kobayashi Maru.
Oh.
And this is pre-Spock.
Oh, Abrams verse is messing me up again. God damn it, Abrams verse. Also, Abrams verse is all over this show. I'll mention it again because the Klingons look like they're from Abrams verse.
Why do the phasers? Like I swear, you don't see the phasers fire that much, but phasers in the prime timeline are meant to be the beams, just a solid beam.
The space combat when that eventually happens looks awful.
And I swear I heard a pew pew pew, and I'm like, no, those are the Kelvin timeline phasers, not the prime timeline phasers.
They didn't do the graphics for the phasers right at all. Like all the phasers in the show look wrong. Like we'll get away in episode 2 when they get into the space flight. It's like, sorry, is that really what you think phasers look like? Red and green lasers, like they are, but like they look nice.
But basically, we get a flashback to her backstory. Turns out she was on some sort of, was it a medical facility?
Yeah, she must have been like
research facility.
It was like a joint thing with the human Vulcans, which got attacked by Klingons.
They got attacked.
Well, yeah, you also meet like Spock's father, played by James Fran.
Yeah.
He's been in Star Trek before, right?
I'm not. Well, no, he's. I know him from the Tudors, and that's why I know him from.
I think he was in Enterprise.
Oh, the character might be. I don't know if it's the same actor.
The character has been.
Yeah.
I quite like James Fran. He's very, he's a very good actor.
He's useless in the show, and he's my most annoying part of the episodes. Like I hate he's not as bad as the Klingons, but his entire character irritated me so much in this show.
He's a good depiction of a Klingon, though. He's a good depiction of
Vulcan.
Of a Vulcan.
I don't think he is.
No, he's a good depiction of a Vulcan, as in not the generic Vulcan. There are a few Vulcans out there like him. He's a good depiction of Spock's father, because Spock's father was always a bit...
Is he Spock's father? Is that who he's playing?
Yes. Yeah.
Spock's father was always a bit less Vulcan than everyone else, even though he was one of the elders.
Oh, they present him really weirdly in this show, then, because...
So I like his depiction.
Can't stand it.
So we get her backstory. We get a bit more later, but for now we just get that she was basically raised Vulcan.
So what she's having is this flashback I mentioned before. She was in like a medical pod.
Yeah.
Which is sort of like repairing her radiation.
Yeah, yeah.
Which seems is that same advance? Is that quite as advanced as in the main series?
Yeah, they do it in a less of its own chamber, more on a bed, more hyperspace. But
why was she awake?
It's the right sort of thing.
Why was she not how did they let her get out? As a doctor, you'd stun her and put her back in.
No, you wouldn't want to sedate her initially. You'd want her to wake up the first time round, and then you'd probably sedate her. You would probably
perhaps the effect of sedation might affect her recovery. So perhaps
you wouldn't let her out.
No, that's a staple Star Trek scene. I'm actually okay with that scene.
She's the worst.
The main characters ignoring the doctors is like a Star Trek staple. It's in every series. There is a series where there's a doctor chasing one of them. No, you can't go out yet. You're not healed. And the person's like, nah, I'm off out. That's every Star Trek series has one of those scenes. So once she gets out, she gets, after... She goes to the bridge. Goes to the bridge and essentially tells them they need to attack or what's going on. Yeah. But since nothing's happening... She's like, why aren't you on red alert? There's Klingons out there. And everyone's like, oh, she's irradiated, she's got concussion. She turns... The weapon stubs, your dash cam didn't work. Yeah. She turns to the captain.
Which is reasonable, because you know of her history when we finally found it out.
She turns to the captain and is like, believe me, there are Klingons out there. And then she goes, okay, red alert. Boop.
I was just waiting for that one Saki crew member to go, yes, it's space, it's very big.
I did like him. I liked the Saki ensign.
But then set a target on the anomaly. Well, obviously, they know it's a Klingon vessel. You know it's a Klingon vessel now, but you're still not exactly sure what it is.
Yeah, they target it. They're not going to fire, but they just want them to think they might.
Yeah, and then the large ship uncloaks.
Yeah, decloaks right in front of them.
Yeah.
Which is great, because this is actually about the time that cloaking technology would have been invented by the Klingons. Yeah.
But not on that size of ship, and not on that ship. The Klingon ships do not look like Klingon ships.
They don't, no.
Where are the warbirds?
Yeah,
Like,
you can tell that
if you look at Warbird, right?
This is the thing. This is pre-original series Klingons.
But what I'm saying is...
The ships that you see in later on won't have been built yet.
Exactly. But this looks more advanced than the ship was yet.
No, this looks like proto-Klingon to me. This looks like... You can see the inspiration there, but it's not quite...
When you look at a Klingon warship, it looks like a truck, right? The front of it looks like a truck. It looks like a metal box. This was curved... It was smoother in places. It was made out of coffins. It was more advanced than they actually have in the main show.
No, this is a ceremonial ship. It always was just a ceremonial.
But even the other ships that you pop in look like... First, they look like Romulan ships. And
Romulans and Klingon ships are almost identical.
Yeah, but the colorization on them was...
Well, yeah, Klingon ships
Romulan.
more green.
So if we move... They're on the Klingon ship.
Yeah.
So they've popped out and they're saying, well, who's going to become the new torchbearer? The basically ceremonial warrior, and they go to a relative who has decided against it.
Because what I really needed in my Klingon politics was base problems.
No, can I just bring something up?
Yeah, sure.
That I absolutely... it's something I hate in sci-fi that this did well. When it zoomed out to see the two ships weren't straight with each other.
Oh yeah. It was like an angles.
And I was like, I love that, because I always hate it in sci-fi when two ships come onto each other and they're always perfectly level with one another. It's like, there is no up in space, there is no set thing because of artificial gravity. So two ships could come up to each other and have to orient. I'm fine with it. But like, why in all sci-fi do ships always just appear on the same level as each other, perfectly facing? I liked the fact when it zoomed out that they were like a bit askew to each other. Sorry, just a tiny detail that made me more happy than it should have done.
Yeah, a bit of like choosing the torchbearers, like one dishonor.
There's some kind of like
it was a bit naff,
theme
but
about the Klingons having different houses, and then people who get disrespected as sons of no ones, and then they're like disgraced. But I was very unclear. It's very unclear because I was like, wait, is he getting? Is he being made fun of because he's white?
No, he is albino sort of thing. Do you know?
Like, is that a problem with Klingons?
Kind of. The Klingons are a bit racist to them.
But they're all albino in the original series.
Yes. But this is why I'm annoyed that the fact that they all should be weird-looking humans at this point. None of them should have the ridges. But
yeah. Well, I think in general the scene was a bit... Yeah. It was like...
Well, it was a bit weird as well because Klingons care less about blood and, less about...
your relations and...
Yeah, less about who your parents were, more about how you prove yourself.
Yeah.
Which I kind of liked the scene of him sticking his hand in the fire to prove himself, and the guy being like, "Yeah," because that's a very actually, the most Klingon thing to do would have been to
kill the other guy who said no first of all.
Yeah, that would have been it. Literally, the guy that refused, he should have walked up behind him, stabbed him in the back, and gone, "I'll do it." That's how it would have been done with Klingons.
Yep, their characterization is completely off in this episode.
So
and he should not have been left alive either. The one that refused the job, he should have been executed on the spot.
Yeah.
So
you know when we make fun of villains for killing people randomly, it makes sense for the Klingons to do that.
It's their entire culture.
No,
so we get the Shenzhou scans the ship and finds out what the sarcophagus is, and they're a bit worried that they're only in defense between a colony and the Klingons, so they're waiting for reinforcements.
Was it Takar? Is it?
Takar.
Is it Takar?
The
Klingon leader.
Yeah.
Takar. Why is his outfit so fancy and that?
What are the Klingons wearing?
The Klingon outfits are they have the things with the spikes on it.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is the
I assumed it was like a religious cult kind of thing.
Yeah, he is. They are a bit cultish. You see other Klingons wearing them, but why is his batleth got like jewels and stuff in it? Klingons don't give anything about. They don't care about that.
again,
It's
I'll
a
say Abramverse. They looked at the Abramverse. It's like the writers have never seen Star Trek, saw the Abramverse, and made a show about it.
Worf insults some human weapons for looking too fanciful because it's a weapon. It's just meant to kill. It should be designed to kill.
They should have just listened to every piece of dialogue Worf says about the Klingons.
Yeah.
Because even though Worf isn't a traditional Klingon necessarily,
He's sort of humanish raised. And,
but like he knows about the Klingons and
Yeah.
everything he said. Like play Star Trek Online, you get a better idea of the entire plot of Star Trek in this show.
So we get the next part with that some sort of electrical signal comes out from the anonymous ship, and also some sort of massive white light blasts through everything as well, which ends up being a signal to
I don't have a problem with this. I think the premise,
the beacon is making a new star in the sky. Like, I like that whole.
I like the premise that there's a ship that has turned up on a generic mission. There's a problem. There's a ship they've never encountered before and then this giant light happens. And they have no idea what's going on. That's great. Like that's really on paper a great premise for an episode of a show. What fails is all the characters and writing behind it.
Before that beacon goes up, we get the sensing death talk with the.
Oh yes.
That guy.
It would work if I gave a damn about anyone on the ship.
Yeah. And then we get Michael going off to talk to Sarek.
Yeah, and some sort of long-range communication, telepathic communication.
No, this is...
Sorry.
This is hologram.
Sorry,
this is the hologram.
Jumped a bit forward.
Yeah. Also, holograms are better than they actually are on the original show.
Yeah, but they would have been better... That was more a budgeting thing to the show than technology.
You have to keep within the canon of the show.
No.
I mean,
here's my thing.
Not the 1960s anymore, so it's.
Yeah.
But you could make. I'm sorry.
The holograms
I know
are like
that
one of
people
the
are going
few
to
things
say that this is crazy. You can make a show. How come you can make a show that looks like it was shot in the 80s, but you can't make a show that was made like you can modernize it and still keep elements of the 60s. Like, Enterprise, however bad it is, at least it tried.
Yeah.
It tried its best. Why do we need this show to be set in this time period? Why? We could have had any period of Star Trek. I know people don't like to do anything on Deep Space Nine for some reason.
Shall I throw my wacky
It's not wacky, everyone has the same theory.
I want it to be about a temporal agent.
Yeah, I already know who it is.
I want the temporal agent. I want it secretly to be about a temporal agent trying to make sure this stays to the prime timeline and not to split off to the Kelvin timeline.
I already know I already figured out who it is.
I've got theories, but I want it to be about a temporal agent secretly.
Yeah.
It'd be brilliant.
It would be K, but like I don't want it because I don't want to have to go through there is Star Trek, like it's like the thing with Star Wars.
Yeah.
There was canon, then they went F it, we're doing a new thing, which is fine, sure, yeah, we can still have our legacy stuff. So much like with Star Trek, you can do the Kelvin, but when you start going back, it's like, yeah, did we need to know this, and how much have you changed?
Yeah.
Because so much of this felt like it come out of nowhere.
That's how we get to more the confrontation, but they discuss how the Vulcans dealt with Klingons previously.
Which is the true, like,
yeah.
That is how the Klingons and Vulcans...
So she tries to persuade the captain to attack now, take out the ship before anything else happens, just saying, we're not putting up with this anymore.
But I get both sides. Like, it's what the Vulcans did, it's what the thing, but it's not what Starfleet does. Starfleet never fires first. Starfleet is not a military organisation.
I know that
it would be really interesting in a better written show. This show just did a really bad job of presenting any sort of dilemma because it was just so... It was so to the point where you're like, well, either either Michael is just insane and should just not be there because she's terrible, or that like that's kind of how the show presents it in the first episode. But by the second episode, it's almost like, yeah, Michael was right all along. And you're like, no, she wasn't. She just wasn't. I get there's an argument to be made, but the show doesn't present it like that. The show doesn't spend like the show should have been as much how Battlestar is. Just people sat in a room talking about what they should do.
Yeah, I like the fact that it just threw us in at this though. That it didn't try and do the whole, Babby's first steps of Starfleet and that. It just threw us into this, and everything just goes to hell. Just everything
I mean,
I would like it if it was written better.
there is like the confrontation between like the commander and the captain when it's she's disagreeing with the decisions.
Yeah.
But there's thing, but if it also mentioned that she's been with the captain for 7 years.
Yeah, they mentioned it 5 times.
have thought-
Don't forget.
you'd
Don't
have
forget
thought-
it's 7 years.
You'd have thought after 7 years she'll learn the ticks how this person acts.
Yeah.
And-
I know the show mentions it multiple times.
And then, like, I get the stuff. The captain comes to bring her into the ready room, and she sort of admits she's emotional, and then she Vulcan nerve pinches the captain. Just boop.
I was going. I thought I was going for that good. That was quite good. That.
Yeah, just a Vulcan nerve pinch, which she should not have woken up from that quickly. Either the captain is super tough, or she's really bad at doing the nerve pinch.
I'm gonna go for
or the writers don't know what they're doing.
Well, she was emotional at the time, so.
And then obviously she goes to get the proton torpedo ready to fire on the ship, but then she gets her.
And then Captain's randomly fine again, and then
She's not fine. She's a bit stumbly, and she's a bit.
holds a gun to her, and then episode 2.
But then
I'm
obviously
not a big fan of the phaser design.
It's
But
not
then-
bad.
but then
It's not
loads
bad.
of
It could
Klingon
be worse.
ships.
Yeah.
Klingon ships pop in. Boom, boom, boom. Right at the end. So
And that's where it ends.
that's signed about a recap for the first episode.
It's a shame that those ships look like utter garbage. I would be able to tell what's going on.
And I would say that I think the second episode was a lot better, which is a very odd thing for CBS to put that behind a paywall for, well, at least the American audiences. Because
If you
got
had
both,
is episode 2 behind the paywall?
for Americans, yes.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's CBS Access.
But episode 1 was the one that they show people.
They aired, yeah.
Who the hell bought the network after seeing episode 1?
I'd have.
I want to see the figures
Because
because
we got
awful.
1 and 2 straight
on
away.
Netflix, yeah, straight away.
I mean, we're behind the paywall to start with, but you know.
Yeah, but it's like, but at least
it's like a tiny.
It's okay, I've got
paywall.
Pretty Little Liars on there. Better show than this.
Okay, so when we start episode 2,
yeah. So
it's the flashback to 7 years earlier when they first met the captain and Michael. What's the captain's name again?
Michael Byrne.
No, the captain.
Oh, Philippa Georgia.
Philippa, yeah. When Michael and Philippa first met.
The naming scheme in this season was, what can we do to make it the worst?
So you flashback, it's her as a Vulcan envoy
She
with
looks
Sarek.
stupid.
No, she's in Vulcan dress.
It looks really dumb though.
Yeah, that's the thing. Vulcans always
it looks
do.
cheesily dumb. Like, I'm not saying it as a bad thing. I just think it's funny how dumb she looks in it.
It's just how Vulcans have always looked.
Yeah, but like Shrek looks fine in it.
Yeah.
She just looks dumb.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's almost like, like, it's a bit awkward to start off with, but that's almost like, well, she's expecting more of a human pro response.
Yeah, and it's awkward, and then like.
But like she starts emoting so quickly.
Yeah.
Like it's by the end of her conversation with the captain, it's like, oh, yeah, she's not just been inconsistent for like 7 years after. Her character's been inconsistent from the start. Good to know. Thank you, writers. You've written the
No, it's
worst
not.
character in Star Trek.
But no,
since
it's not.
No, it is. She's the worst. She's so
If
like
you know
I get
humans have tried before, and humans can never learn to be like Vulcans are.
I
We
get
just
that,
inherently
and the premise
can't.
is interesting. It's just the character they've written is bad. Like, I have no problem with the premise of a character. Her premise is fine. It's just she's written like a psychopath.
Yeah. Then walk around the ship. The ship gets explained away as being an old ship for and I'm just like.
It's an old ship, so the technology doesn't have to make any sense. That's what it is. So they said they had to retrofit bits.
Yeah.
So that like they weren't sure what they could have or not because they wrote a show in a really awkward time. So what they did was they went, this ship is old, so we can get inconsistent about what tech they have.
Yeah. Then we flash back forward to her on the bridge, and she gets bricked. She gets bricked.
But we also find out that it's 24 ships, which is also 24 houses of Klingon.
Yes.
That is consistent, is it?
Yes, that
Yeah.
there have always been, well, not always, some of them get wiped out every now and again, but there are
Yeah.
there are 24 Klingon houses.
And I mean, we don't know the names of them, so far they're consistent.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say their characterizations are
Yeah,
consistent.
I mean, like in the hologram, it almost seemed like there was like 7 or 8 even on screen. So
it
there
was really weird.
it was 24. Why would?
It's because there are 24 houses, but
The
not
council isn't 24.
Yeah, the
seats.
council is 24. Most of the
a
even
lot of
within-
these houses.
So
even
it's
within-
like
even
great
within-
houses and like
yeah,
not
even-
so great
yeah,
houses.
even-
I mean,
24 houses,
like
you've
a
got a
house
hierarchy.
could be like a blooming pirate group.
Some of the houses are basically subservient to other houses. So it's like you have a house, and then this house is basically that house's.
It's like Game of
Servant.
Thrones, but Klingon.
Yeah.
I'd watch that. It'd be probably more entertaining than this.
Well, I mean, I come from June, which has plenty of great houses. It's got a proper parliament as well, so you know who's the biggest and best house of them all. But that's another story altogether.
But like the Klingons do have a government. This show just didn't understand it.
No. The Klingons at this point don't have a government.
Yeah, because they're fractured.
Oh,
The Klingons
yeah.
at this point.
I meant they
this
have
is-
political allegiances and stuff, but I don't
This
think
is-
the show has a
no.
good enough grasp on them, so it's trying
No,
to.
at this point, the Klingons don't. The Klingons are in civil war at this point.
That's what I'm saying. But there's a civil war,
Yeah.
but the show kind of skims over
Yeah.
it for consistency and like it
it
just doesn't
mentions
want
it
to
a
write.
few times.
Yeah, but
So once they're all together, the main Klingon, yeah, there we go. Tells them
it's Tukuvma.
there's Takuma. You're
I've
right.
got to try and like remain Klingon against like these like mixed bag of humans and
Well,
Vulcans and
Klingon-
Telrata, because they got the blue with the extra eyes on
Yeah,
top.
no, they don't have the eyes. It's just the antenna.
Oh, their antenna. Sorry.
Yeah.
After they say "come in peace," that's when the Klingons open fire.
Yep.
And so obviously,
And then this is where the Starfleet need to stop making their consoles out of explosives.
I mean,
as,
that-
as soon as,
that's-
And really bad crew people.
as soon as they get hit, it's like poof, console explodes. Like, why?
because most of those ships must have been.
The thing is, I know
But-
why, because it's a staple in Star Trek that the consoles just randomly explode in battle.
But like fans who are defending this show are saying it's modernising it, but all the elements it's modernised are the rubbish ones.
So obviously, Burnham's in the brig.
Yeah, and we get I've forgotten his name.
We
now.
get one of the ensigns who's been damaged.
the sassy ensign.
Yeah, he's injured in the first opening salvo,
Yeah.
and so he's gone down to because he got some sort of concussion.
Yeah.
Why did he go to her?
No, because he was like, this isn't med. But he was confused. He was
Yeah,
concussed.
concussed. Yeah.
Is that what it was meant to be?
Yeah.
I thought he was just psycho.
No,
he
It was so unclear.
No, he was concussed.
No, I
He
thought it was clear enough.
because he walks in and goes, "This isn't the med bay," and he's like, "Where are the doctors?" And he thought he'd gone to the med bay.
I
But
thought he went to see her.
no.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
then obviously
then he sees her and as I'm talking to her, he's like, "Why aren't you on the bridge? We're at war."
yeah, and then another blast hits and you get sucked out into
Well,
space.
before then, just before then, he has the line which I really like from this, of him going, "We're Starfleet. We're explorers. We're not soldiers," which is true because Starfleet, until you get like Cisco doing it and all that, Cisco is not a Cisco is the one that militarizes Starfleet, pretty much.
Yeah.
Deep Space Nine is when you have like the
There
militarization.
are
There
earlier
are
examples of military leaders within Starfleet, like
but Cisco is
a
the one
lot
that
of
has.
the original series and
Yeah.
movies are about
Yeah.
militarization of Starfleet.
But Cisco has the biggest and most successful push.
I mean, after the Borg,
Yeah.
you kind of would.
Yeah. But yeah, 'cause at this point, Starfleet is a purely peaceful, exploring
They
organization.
have had conflicts.
They have had conflicts, but they avoid them wherever they can. They don't. They are not a military organization.
I don't know how humans ever set up Starfleet. I'm sorry.
yeah, it's far too peaceful for humans.
But that's the thing. This is one of my major downsides. I can't say it yet, but to this thing, they're putting a bleak look on the Star Trek universe. And one of my favourite things about Star Trek is how hopeful it is. It's a hopeful future. It's a bright future for humanity. It's a good. And I don't want them to make it bleak. I don't want them to make it dark. I want it to stay.
I think
that-
darkness works. I just think the way the show is doing it,
No,
I think I agree
don't-
doesn't work.
I don't like darkness in Star Trek. Star Trek, it can happen in like the odd episode, but Star Trek overall, its tone is about hope. That is the message Star Trek gives.
The best episode of Star Trek is one of the darkest episodes of the show, and I cannot disagree with you more. What's the name of the episode where there's a ship that gets brought through a wormhole and have just been saved, and the Next Generation crew have to suggest they have to go back?
I can't remember.
Oh, it was cool. There's a
What?
really great episode of Star Trek Next Generation where basically we see this like, the Enterprise comes across a blip in space.
Yes.
Generic episode. Then a Starfleet ship comes through the anomaly, and that ship is supposedly been destroyed years ago.
Yeah.
But then time starts changing, and they
Right.
realise that the ship didn't get destroyed.
Right.
And that means time has changed.
Right.
So they have to convince the ship to
To
go back and die.
Yeah.
It's an amazing character episode, and it's full of tension and conversation, and it's some of the best of TV.
Yeah, but that's...
And it's done in the right tone and clever writing, and takes its time with it.
See, I'm okay with that. I'm just saying changing the entire tone. If you're trying to put a darker tone to this entire series, I'm not okay with it. Because Star Trek as a thing has always been a very hopeful future.
So getting back to the episode.
Yeah.
So Burnham is knocked out in the brig.
Yeah.
And they get a flashback of they got attacked. Perhaps it's from the original attack where she gets located.
It's
It's
really
very
odd.
Yeah, it's not
I
sure.
found it difficult to figure out when it was, because
Yeah.
it wasn't. It's because because she's already. Was she already with the Klingons when?
I think the premise is meant to be that it was like a Vulcan human cooperation thing.
Because it looks like she's in the training room.
Yeah, it was a school. It was.
But like in the other flashback, she already mentioned about a terrorist attack.
Yeah, is it meant to be
So-
the previous one?
I meant to be.
That-
I've seen it
that-
afterwards.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the first flashback was after the second flashback chronologically.
Are you
speaking.
sure? Because I don't. It wasn't expressed very well.
I assumed it was.
I
It was
don't know.
another attack.
I
because-
assumed it was another attack as well because the
Maybe.
show didn't do explain
I
about
don't
it.
know.
I mean, it wasn't very. It was
Yeah.
a bit very quite confusing. And then she.
Well, then she gets mind melded with by Sarek.
to bring him back.
Bring him back.
Yeah.
He's right. You're a Trekkie.
Yeah.
Have they been able to do the weird stuff that he does?
Yeah. Touch telepathy is a massive.
No. I mean the weird thing he does later in the episode. The cross-dimensional. I have the Force. I am your Force ghost. No, didn't think so. Yep,
No.
I was sat there going.
They. That's why I said. That's why I mentioned when I said telepathy. They have
Touch
telepathy.
telepathy.
Vulcans have touch telepathy, so they can read and transfer telepathically if they are touching you. But I know what they're trying to do is he says that his Kartra, which is sort of like the Vulcan equivalent of a soul,
Yeah,
he put a bit of that in her.
we're kind of jumping ahead here, but we need to talk about this because it's ridiculous.
Yes.
He put a bit of that in her when he revived her. So basically, what he's saying is he can communicate with her simply because a bit of him is inside her. Which
His entire character in these first two episodes is kind of like someone who pops along and gives advice, right?
Do you know what he's filling? He's filling the Qui-Gon role.
No, well, yeah, I'd say he's Whoopi Goldberg from Next Gen.
No, he's filling the Qui-Gon Jinn role or the Obi-Wan role. But I'm going to go Qui-Gon because I've got a feeling he's not going to be in it so much more. So it's more Qui-Gon than Obi-Wan.
To be honest, if it had said it wasn't actually him, it was the part he left in him, in her, but it was actually like almost like a memory.
Yeah, I thought
rather
that's what they
than
were
that.
suggesting, but
Yeah.
then I was like, no,
If-
it's
if
just
it-
becoming ridiculous.
If it wasn't actually him communicating,
It was
then
just
more-
her psychosis.
It was the bit of him that was left in there, giving the little advice it could as a fraction of him.
I
That
liked
would be
it
okay.
that it would be a fraction of her imagining him.
Right.
That's kind of like I would be like she's like the part of her brain that's trained
Yeah. Vulcan.
Vulcan sees him
Yeah.
as the Vulcan.
Yeah.
So like having that duality, and that's a really interesting premise as part of like a writer's room.
But him
Sitting in a
being like-
writer's room, you're like,
No, it is me.
oh, that's a really interesting idea. Where you have this character who is raised by the Vulcans but does have the human side. I mean, I know we've been doing this for like the last
Although
3 movies
the-
and everything that we've done it a few times, but we're doing it different this time. This time, our character's an ass.
The thing is though that the whole Cartridge thing does sort of fix a thing with Sarek himself as well, because Sarek was always a bit more human than Vulcans, and this is probably their way of trying to explain away. So with the whole Cartridge thing, it's like a two-way thing.
Or you could just explain it with
So-
his wife was human and he fell in love with her.
Yeah, but Vulcans don't fall in love. So this is a thing of explaining why he was able to fall in love, because he had a little bit of human in him from this event.
Here's the thing, though. Like, Vulcans not having emotions isn't a race thing. It's a training thing.
It's a cultural. It's a cultural thing that became a race thing.
But it's always done via training.
Not always. It was initially because they were a very emotional race to start with, but now through generations of science and stuff, they've basically managed to kill emotions from them almost completely. Like, they just don't have emotions. It's training from birth, yes, so they can have some, but even biologically speaking, they are less emotional beings than.
When does that come into play?
Because they split the Roman. The Romans were the other half, weren't they?
Kinda. It's weird, but it is.
Anyway,
through generations.
back on to this beach show.
So they're up. The ship. She wakes up and hears about how the ship is really bad damage. Now she can see half of her cell.
Yeah.
Is now missing.
Really liked her logicking her way around the computer to let her out of the cell.
Yeah, it was fine.
I really liked that bit of
It was
ethically
fine
speaking.
as a piece of like out of context of the show.
Yeah.
With the context of how annoying she's been so far, I hated it.
No, because it was the whole. She just got.
I hate her.
She just
Like,
got a message
you
from
don't
a mentor,
understand.
So I really liked that scene of her logicking the computer into firing her through space at the other door, and
It is a bit of a pity that we missed basically the.
Oh, it looks awful.
The battle,
that was another scene that was bad.
That like basically the next we get the ship is like adrift, about to slam into an asteroid, and we've missed all like essentially whatever fighting there was.
But that's because they didn't have the CGI for it. Like you can see what little we saw looked bad enough that you didn't want to see anymore.
It's because she's the main character as well, so she didn't know what was going on. So the perspective you can understand us not seeing it because she is the main character. She's. The
I would have been
perspective we're
happier
following.
if they just set it up that the Star Trek Online gameplay was the ship battles. It would look better than the actual show, because at least their phases look and sound right. At least their battles look like Star Trek, not this terrible show. I'd honestly rather watch the graphics from the video game than this show. It looks that bad.
But as the ship is heading, almost going to crash into the asteroids,
Yeah,
and
then
is stopped by
plot.
yeah, it's stopped by the tractor
So
beam
many
of another
times
ship.
this happens.
Well,
There are so many times that she's like, "You're being resurrected again by me. Oh, your Vulcan death grip, your nerve pinch didn't work very well on me. I'm kind of a little bit unsturdy now. Oh, we're about to crash. Oh, we're being saved.
Well, they did mention earlier that the Europa was still like 900 AU out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
but there's so many times it happens, it just becomes silly.
Yeah.
So we get the admiral communicates with the Klingons saying, "Well, let's stop this."
You have two options.
I did like this.
Yeah.
A lot. I lived this a lot.
You have two options. We either. What was it? You either.
You surrender
leave- you
and we
leave
talk,
now.
or
Is
you
it-
leave.
You either leave now or we talk.
It's actually we talk or you leave
Yeah.
now. And he's like, we are sending our embassy. I'm like,
but
We're
it's also,
sending our envoy.
but it's also
Envoy.
waiting for someone as important as you.
Yeah.
I love this. Like,
Yeah.
it's really cheesy. I
Yeah.
liked it. We're sending you an envoy now.
And it's like
And then
chances, all the communication going crazy.
Yeah. And then you look over and you just see sort of like a wedge starting to like come out of the ship. And this is where it comes for you with the cloaking thing. Okay, I can see Takuvma's ship cloaking fine. That Titanic giant.
That was Takuvma's ship.
No, it wasn't.
No, it's different ship.
That's a different.
What
ship.
was that shit?
I don't know.
I am so confused
But
by
I'm pretty
everything
sure-
in the show.
but
It
I'm
did a
not-
really bad job of telling its
But we're
story.
not I'm not
Can
sure
I
that
just say
ship.
as well, do you know, in the battle, the Klingon little fighter ships,
Yeah.
how much do they look like Cylon Raiders?
They look like Romulan ships to me. But
They look
yeah,
like- they
you're
look
right.
like
They look like
Cylon
Cylon Raiders. This show is awful. Why do people think it's good?
I'm still kind of enjoying
No, like it just does a bad job of telling its own story.
it.
We're not quite sure if the admiral actually survives that because
No, he's dead.
He's not. Yeah, but no, because they evacuate, but there's no.
No, he's dead.
Yeah,
They
but-
don't evacuate.
They
They
do.
self-destruct.
No, they self.
You see lots of.
Yeah,
That's my
but-
one detail I did like was that you saw the shuttles
They
going off.
evacuate and they set
Yeah,
off the
but-
self-destruct to
He
take out
didn't.
both ships.
No, he's dead. But like the crew members survived.
Well, there's nothing actually mentioned, so there's nothing.
No,
like,
he's dead.
I liked the thing of they're voluntarily thingying their core. I was like, oh, that is another Star Trek staple of just oh, we're gonna die anyway. Oh, let's.
I
blow
like
it.
how that happens a lot in Star Wars. It's like, oh damn it, our ship's not very good. Well, nuke it again.
And it blows up. And by the looks of it, it looks like it took a chunk out of that whatever ship it was.
Yeah, so not exactly sure whatever sort of.
I don't know what that was.
I like how Starfleet got Worfed in this episode.
That giant flagship.
If you don't get what Worfed is, it's this gimmick where in Star Trek Next Generation, Worf is meant to be the strongest. So whenever a new enemy who's meant to be scary comes along, they throw around Worf
just to prove.
just to prove they're powerful.
Worf's entire job was to get beaten up.
Yeah. So everyone got Worf in this episode.
Yeah. But I want to know,
including the Klingons at one point.
I want to know what that giant ship was. Like that, I want to know what it was.
It was like a dedicated
I honestly
ramming
think
ship.
it was meant to be T'Kuma's ship.
No, because you could see T'Kuma's ship, and you could see the shape of it. It was shaped like
it was like an icebreaker type ship.
It had like the point at the front and that, and it was
Massive,
gigantic.
Yeah,
it was huge.
It towered above the Europa.
Like I know the Klingon ships in general are bigger, but not that.
Isn't that
much
cloaking
bigger.
really restricted though? Like, isn't it like at a certain distance you can just detect them?
Not quite. It varies depending on.
Like, isn't there like limitations? Like, you can't. I know you can't fire weapons.
You can't
which is
fire
obvious.
weapons. You can't engage too much in the engines and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Would it not take a little bit of effort to blow through that ship?
Well, that's why the cloak stops.
Okay.
The cloak comes off when it crashes into it. I mean, you could. In Star Trek, entire space stations are fitted with cloaks.
That's later on.
Yeah, I'm saying later on, but I'm just saying like, you can cloak massive things, but at this point, and just the ship out of nowhere that it's not explained. Like T'Kuvma doesn't say anything about it. It just sort of.
So much of this show is it's not explained or badly explained.
And then the ship just sort of vanishes. It's there to ram into the Europa, split the Europa in half. The Europa explodes, and then there's literally no
so
mention of
much
it again.
Meh over substance.
Yeah, and
in this
then
episode,
we get the scene of the captain talking with Saru. Is his name?
Yep.
Saru. Yeah, Saru. The science officer. They're trying to figure out what they can do. They come up with the idea of putting a warhead in the little thing and sending it to the ship because it's small to be thinking just debris.
Yeah, because they're all the other Klingon ships basically are told to go back home and tell what's happened here to bring basically.
Why doesn't T'Kuvma go?
Because he's
I don't think his ship is probably not able to do that.
No, his ship is able, but it's.
He was recovering the dead.
He's recovering the dead.
Oh,
and
that explains that.
And he's not one of the 24 houses.
Yeah.
He's not a member of any of the 24
houses.
Houses.
But you could still, leave after you finish a battle.
I assume obviously.
That was the thing as well. When you see the
Klingon
the Enterprise,
the
US ship, what's the
Europa?
No, what's our ship called?
The Shenzhou.
Shenzhou.
Yeah.
When you see the Shenzhou drifting, and there's a Klingon, it's meant to be a warbird or whatever it is, coming at it, and it drifts off, and then it disembarks.
Why?
No, they said because they said it's being lulled in, it's being dragged in.
No. Why the ship was called off?
The Klingons never
just decide not to go kill him.
The Klingons always go for the kill.
Yeah.
They never pull away. If they see a chance
that's a flaw of the writing, but they did say, but that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, but
it should have been like if
the
Europa
idea
popped
is
in and blasted it.
He's
that would have been fair
They
enough.
do say that shouldn't have happened. They think they were meant to be dead, but the show tries to suggest that T'Kuvma was keeping them alive to be witnesses.
The Klingons
Witness me!
But
that'd be so much more entertaining.
That wasn't T'Kuma's shit. That was just a.
I know, but maybe T'Kuvma was saying, "Don't shoot that one."
If a Europa had popped in, blasted it, and then tracked a beam.
Yeah, if the Europa had gone boom and shot it out of the sky, I'd have been fine. But it's the fact that it just pulled away.
Yeah.
Anywho, yeah.
But
that would have been more entertaining. Can't we get George Miller to write the Klingons for this? It's like the Mad Max monsters.
Yeah.
Right, so we get the next part. We get Burnham's talking through the computer.
Yeah.
It's because around where the Klingons are basically warping back. Because she hasn't escaped from the prison at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Because Sal and the captain have this idea, and then the captain says she's going to send it.
Yeah, and then...
But then...
And then,
Michael makes it out, makes it to the bridge to then counter their idea.
But this is a big plot point I want to bring up as well, because this really annoyed me. Because Michael comes up while they're talking about this, and Michael's like, no, you can't do that. You can't kill him. Killing him will be the worst thing you can do right now.
She's like this for the entire 2 episodes. This is why I hate her.
Yeah.
She's worse than Janeway.
Yeah. And why would the little transport things not have autopilot? They're little drone things. They could easily be...
Inconsistent writing, inconsistent tech, because they were lazy and didn't figure out how to write a good show.
And you know, they have to sacrifice one of theirs to turn him to a Messiah. You're not going to be a Messiah. So
Capture him.
So Burnham says she'll do it, and that, you know, to disable the ship, not to destroy the ship. But then the tractor beams start coming up and retrieving all the Klingons, and the captain's like, aha, I have a new idea. We're going to strap a bomb to one of them.
Klingon. Well, I mean, no.
Yeah,
it's an interesting plan. I also love, like, this is the moment where you can tell the writers had seen the Star Trek movie.
The Bajorans would be proud of that plan.
As I'm not a Trekkie, I have no idea who they are. So
you're not a Trekkie and you're saying the show is good, then you need to go watch Star Trek.
The Bajorans are one of the things in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Is orbiting Bajor, and the Bajorans were enslaved basically by the Klingon Empire, and they became sort of almost an entire race of like, well, not a race, but they were known as like terrorists that did like guerrilla tactics and stuff, blew up things and got out of there quickly.
It's good. They get taken over by the Klingon Empire for years.
Yeah.
Then when they finally get released from the Klingon Empire, the Federation isn't much better.
Yeah.
It's kind of great.
Yeah.
That's why Deep Space Nine is amazing.
Yeah. But that is exactly something that a Bajoran would come up with.
Yeah.
Bajorans would be happy with this plan.
But as I was saying, you can tell at this point the writers had seen the Star Trek movie, like the Abrams one, because they basically do the exact same scene. They send the captain and the second officer onto the ship, armed with phasers to try and do something. It's the exact same scene, and it ends the exact same way. Why? Because it's in the Star Trek movie.
But like, why would you send the 2 most valuable people of your crew?
Why would you send the 2 high ranking? Those are not...
I mean, that's a problem in most
Star Trek. Do you not have like military officers?
They do. They have security, they have things. Even if they can only beam 2 people across. Those are not the 2 most qualified people. They're just not.
I mean, like, with Kirk, it's understandable because Kirk was a bad captain.
Kirk was like
gung-ho as well.
Yeah, Kirk was very gung-ho. Kirk probably was one of the best people to send, because Kirk could survive things that normal people just wouldn't.
Yeah. Like,
because he was Kirk.
But like whenever Picard was going somewhere, he was either doing diplomacy or he had a crew with him.
He had a big team with him.
There was also when they put the warhead on the Klingon, how do they not know that warhead won't kill him when they blow up the
because of where it was
going to.
Where it was going to. It was only.
It's going to the length.
And it was only. The original plan was multiple warheads. This was just one. All that does is detach the neck of the ship from the base.
Yeah, so they disable the neck of the ship, right? Then you send a security team to go get him.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Problem solved. But no, you send 2 officers because that's what happens in the Star Trek movie. The captain gets killed because that's what happens in the Star Trek movie. And then, because the writers hate me...
I'm almost certain that's not the Klingon alarm noise either.
It isn't, is it? No.
I don't think that's the Klingon alarm noise.
Neither was the red alert noise. The red alert noise didn't happen. When the ship went... Anyway. But, like, yeah, and then, like, immediately Saul was like, we lost the captain.
No. The thing that annoys me the most is the captain gets stabbed, and then Michael switches her gun from stun to kill. And shoots him, doing exactly what she said was the worst thing to do. Stunning to Cooper in that situation would have done exactly the same thing.
So it's like,
she could have stunned him.
What happened to that Vulcan training? It's like, gone.
She could have stunned him.
I've been saying this for the whole episode.
Stunned him.
She's the worst.
The Vulcan thing to do there: stun him, take the captain's comm badge, stick it onto Kuzma, and then go 2 to beam out.
Okay, what's the name of? Who's the character in Voyager who's the engineer Klingon who's the worst character in all of Star Trek?
The female one.
Yep. She is better than Michael.
Wow. Okay.
That's how much I hate her and the writing of this show.
So also, Takuva dies in...
He has a... Look, I forgot about... We talked about he had a flashback to his tragic backstory earlier.
Oh yeah, we
of him being like an outcast kid and, beating up
but since
a lot.
He's dead, we don't care anymore.
Yeah. And then
so much of this, I'm like, I don't care, anyone's dead.
And then he has a sad death scene where we're supposed to meant to feel for him.
Yeah, so tell the story of our children.
Yeah, so is it the words we used to say as kids?
It's. I'm sort of surprised they killed him off so quickly.
Yeah.
I thought but I suppose they did say about the March thing earlier, and I thought he'd be has an interest, because one of the other Klingons who goes away said, "I'll teach you a lesson when I come back."
Yeah.
Well, he's dead.
Yeah.
What lesson are you going to teach him?
Yeah. And yeah.
Because then the white Klingon is basically left.
He's now the head of it.
He'll be basically the head of whatever they do. But then further on, they get back to Earth or
you see
I think it's Torres.
You see all the ships.
She's worse than Torres. She's worse than Torres.
But then we see everyone like. Then we get the thing of her talking. All the charges against her. How do you plead? Why does the Starfleet Council look so shady? Why are they all half lit?
I don't know.
Starfleet
don't have a shadow council. This isn't a Marvel movie.
Why is Jason Isaacs not on the council? So at least later on go, oh, I was on the I was sentenced to you and I changed my mind later on. If he's one of the main actors, he's not even there.
I can't honestly.
Always
I was expecting
them big glass rooms with loads of lights.
I was expecting them to be like, you're now being sentenced to training camp with Sergeant Slaughter as your new trainer. Go! This is a reference to the G.I. Joe movie, the best animated movie from the 80s. It would have been a better improvement over this.
But yeah, I thought overall the second episode was a lot better than the first one, just because a bit more. It was a little bit
more concise and less annoyingly badly written. The lines weren't painful.
I'm in a weird situation because the more I sit and think about it, the more I mull over it, the more I think I like it.
The more I think about it, the more I just want to burn it.
And I've watched it a couple of times. I still enjoyed the majority of it anyway.
Hated it. I cannot stand it.
I
get why people are defending it.
Yeah.
I get it.
I'm a
You all like Voyager. You're wrong.
I don't like Voyager.
It's such a bad. I'm sorry. As someone who loves good sci-fi and loves bad sci-fi, this is just bad.
Yeah, but she's imprisoned for life. Oh no!
I swear, she's going to camp with Sergeant Slaughter. She'll come back for the finale against Cobra. La, 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 la.
So either what we're gonna get is she's in prison for life. Next episode is a time skip.
That's what I think's gonna happen.
She's been in jail for a while, or it's gonna be a week or so, and the Klingons are attacking, and they're like, "We kind of need you."
It would make more sense, you're right, if Jason Isaacs' character was on the council and offered a second chance.
Yeah.
So you will serve your punishment on my ship.
Yeah, or you
as the janitor.
No, your punishment will be to command the ship on the front line. You are on the front line of the Klingon war.
Are you crazy? No, that's not a punishment. That's putting more people in danger.
Yeah, but just for
that is the worst idea I've ever heard.
So you just man the ship entirely out of people from Starfleet prison.
Or penal ship.
Yeah, and
alright, prisoners, here's your ship. Oh wait, they just fired cannons at us. Yep, well, shit. Well, here we are. We're dead now because we gave prisoners a ship. Jacob, you terrible with Star Trek, get out.
It is weird how 3 out of the 5 main cast aren't in the 2 first episodes.
Please tell me Saru at least.
Saru
he's the main.
Saru and one of the.
I like Saru.
Saru and at least 2 of the helmsmen.
Right.
They'll be recurring.
Recurring.
They're not main cast.
One of them is the time agent. If there is a time agent, one of them is the time agent.
Yeah.
Well, I know they've been saying something about a Mirror Universe episode about the Terran Empire. I'm reading about that.
I don't want them to because the writing of this show so far hasn't been strong enough.
It's only 7 episodes, 7 the first half, maybe 15 altogether.
I love the Mirror Universe episode of Deep Space Nine with the building of the Defiant.
But that's because it's good. It's well written. Oh. This wasn't well written. Yeah. As I was saying, the episode of Star Trek for Next Generation I love is well written. This wasn't anywhere near it. It was rubbish. These guys are defending it because they don't understand what a good show is.
No, I'm defending it because I'm a Trekkie and I just want to.
I need a replacement for Game of Thrones.
I need. It has to be good.
That's where your problem is in the first place. Why are you watching that show? It was disappointing as hell.
I'm cautiously optimistic for the rest of it.
Yeah, I want some. Hopefully,
it felt like Brian Fuller in season 3 and 4 of Hannibal, rather than the Brian Fuller that wrote the first season of Hannibal, which is great.
I got less Klingon, more of the other cast.
No, more Klingon. We didn't see the Klingons this episode. They weren't the Klingons. I refuse to believe they were the Klingons.
Fine, alternative Klingons, less alternative Klingons. They're more of like
Less not Star Trek, more Star Trek,
You
please.
see them saying that this is the Prime Universe, and then having Abrams Klingons.
There's so much of it that isn't Prime Universe. You
Yeah.
should have just set it in the. You should have just set it in the Abrams version.
well, there was rumours about it was going to be like there was some sort of thing they were going to send to an altered universe and
Just set it in the Abrams verse.
If
I know
they-
that fans are going to
they
hate it,
could
but
have-
fans are going to hate this too.
They could have said it in the same place in the Kelvin timeline, and not that much.
You would probably have to set it afterwards because the. I mean, no. Yeah, I guess you could. I think you could set it after the movies and just have the Klingon War start.
Yeah. But yeah, because this, I'm pretty sure this is the up to the 4 years Klingon War. I think this is what this is.
That's what it is. Like
This is-
in Star Trek Kelvin timeline, that's never happened.
yeah, I think the 4-year Klingon War is what
Because
this
Star
is
Trek Into
leading up
Darkness is the first.
Yeah.
It's the first
Well,
communication with the Klingons.
to. Yeah.
Help me.
Yeah, I'm almost certain the 4-year Klingon War is what they're building up to here.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And it'd be fine if the show didn't suck. Life out of me.
so I think that's about it for what we want to say on Star Trek.
I
So-
won't be back for any other episode of this.
No, I think
I will be.
Jacob will be back. We might see.
Should we drag Will in?
Drag someone who's
well,
got more, you know.
We might ask someone else. I don't want to say who it is because I think we're going to ask a few people
Yeah, we're going to ask a few people.
to see if they want to come in and join us. I would say, well, thank you to Kallum for joining us this.
It's fine.
part.
I just have fun with this
Yeah.
show because I can't.
Well, Kallum will be back in a sense because in a month's time we're going to be doing a preview
Oh God, we're talking
But-
about another bad show, aren't
for
we?
Stranger Things.
Ah.
Oh, we're doing that, aren't we?
Yeah, so it's like we'll co-hosting that together, but having Will be part of that, so it'll be a 4-part team for that one.
Yeah.
And then a week after it airs, we'll do like a season 2 wrap up.
Yeah.
We'll be doing like an episode by episode, I don't think, because there's not enough time really for that
Probably
one.
end up binge watching Stranger Things again. It's what I did with the phone.
Why did I sign on to any of these shows?
Because you hate yourself.
Because he's all about that YouTube gold, which we don't have. Yep, so that'll do. So obviously that'll be my next week.
Goodbye.
See you next. Oh, also,
Live long and
next
prosper.
week I'll be doing a wrap up with Will and Jacob, Rick and Morty season 3 wrap up. Another show that Kallum has opinions on.
It's awful. This season has really been bad.
So we'll see you guys next week for Discovery, and also next week for Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye.